Hello everyone, it's Charlton, and I wanted to just give you some new information on what took place in Israel, Syria last night, and Israel's response to the rockets that were fired from within Syria to Israeli defense positions in the Golan Heights. And so show you some new footage that surfaced. In fact, one of them is provided by the Israeli Defense Force. It's a camera on top of a missile that's firing down on an SA-22 Panzer S-1, anti-aircraft system. It's a Russian-made, what's it called? Panzer S-1 is a Russian-made, truck-mounted, short to medium-range surface-to-air missile and anti-aircraft artillery weapons system. It's this thing right there. I believe that's it pictured. It is SA-22 aerial interception system. So, and also here is Benjamin Netanyahu, the Prime Minister of Israel, making a statement basically saying Iran crossed the red line, and their response was very heavy last night. And in fact, after I had made my video, more details came out on how heavy, in fact, it was. They struck dozens of locations inside of Syria. It's not known how many Israeli warplanes were in the air. I assume several, many. I don't know. But they, according to a graphic that's here in the Daily Mail, I counted 36 different locations that were targeted, targeting primarily aerial defense systems, radar installations, basically anything that could potentially take down an Israeli warplane. They fired at and presumably took out, but I don't know that. So let me show you that video, and then I was just checking because it's 5 o'clock on the East Coast right now. It's midnight in Syria. This is about when everything began last night, and already on Twitter, things are starting to come out. It's at Aleppo Today TV, and this is just from 3 minutes ago. I'll refresh it in a second. It says, Israeli says they are preparing for another round of operations in Syria. So, and it wouldn't shock me if that's true, if this just continues tonight. And this is kind of how the Israelis do operate, when they're fired upon or any kind of act of aggression, and whether it's an act of aggression or defense, or I'm not here to debate that. I understand the Golan Heights is Syrian land that was seized by the Israelis in the 1967 war and fully annexed in 1981, and that's a huge point of contention with many people. But typically, whenever any assault on Israelis, they usually come back really hard, and that's just how they do things, So I would expect more tonight, but I don't know, and we'll see what it says. If there's any new stuff here, what the latest developments on. But let me continue with what's in this Daily Mail piece in this video here. First, the footage provided by the Israeli Defense Force. And actually, you can see soldiers to the left of the vehicle, I don't know why this thing's in my way. There you go. So here's soldiers over here, and you can see one run over to the vehicle, it looks like, just as the missile is, about to hit it. Targeting Syrian SA-22 battery, following its attempt to fire at IDF fighter jets, Israeli Air Force. All right, here's Benjamin Netanyahu making a statement, basically saying Iran crossed the red line, and it's in Hebrew, so there's subtitles.
צה"ל ביצע תקיפה נרחבת מאוד נגד מטרות איראניות בסוריה. בזכות היערכות נכונה של כוחותינו, גם בהתקפה וגם בהגנה, הפעולה האיראנית נכשלה. אף רקטה לא נחתה בשטח ישראל. עם ישראל גאה בצה"ל, ועם ישראל סומך על צה"ל. אנחנו נמצאים במערכה ממושכת, המדיניות שלנו ברורה. לא ניתן לאיראן להתבסס צבאית בסוריה. אתמול העברתי מסר ברור למשטר אסד. הפעולה שלנו מכוונת נגד מטרות איראניות בסוריה. אבל אם הצבא הסורי יפעל נגדנו, אנחנו נפעל נגדו. זה בדיוק מה שקרה אתמול. סוללות של הצבא הסורי ירו טילי קרקע אוויר נגדנו, ולכן פגענו בהם. איראן חצתה קו אדום. התגובה שלנו הייתה בהתאם. צה"ל ביצע תקיפה נרחבת.
It's getting pretty serious, man. And and my initial belief was that this is just the Iranians and Israelis testing each other and seeing, what the other will do once they're fired upon. We'll see what happens tonight. But the response by the Israelis was pretty heavy last night. I would expect more of the same tonight. But I don't know. I really don't. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. This is tanks lined up at the Golan Heights there. This is actually pictures of Lebanese soldiers that are retrieving rockets. I believe they were rockets that were surface-to-air missiles, trying to, anti-aircraft missiles trying to take down Israeli warplanes. That's how they ended up in Lebanon, as I understand it. So before I show you the video, this is the actual Iron Dome system, that I always thought it was something way more elaborate than that, and I just was surprised. I'd seen that picture the last few days. I had no idea that was actually it. That was the Iron Dome system. So that's their sophisticated anti-aircraft, and especially it works. It's very effective. Not in any way. I'm just saying, I thought it would be bigger, or just not the picture I had in my head, and here it is, pictured a little bit different, So, and I'll show you the video in a second. But here's actually some tank positions that were from Wednesday, and it seems like the tanks are fewer in number. So from that to today, it's grown to, you can't really tell exactly by these pictures, but it seems as though, and you have these sort of bulldozer type things here, as well as the Merkava tanks, and there's another picture up here. It just seems like they're in greater number today, following the rocket attack into the Golan Heights and then the Israeli response. Here's the video of the Israeli Iron Dome defense system. And all right. Okay, let me show you some video of the Israeli Iron Dome defense system, as it was shooting last night, shooting at the Iranian rockets coming from Syria into the Golan Heights. I actually, when I saw this last night, I thought it was the other way around. I thought it was the Iranian rockets, but, I'm getting educated, so now it makes more sense to me. You see them go up in like a cluster of 6, and I don't have it up. Hopefully I'll come to it where it shows the actual, the equipment positioned in the Golan Heights. It's much less than I thought. I had this image in my head of something much more grand than what the Iron Dome defense system is, but I'll show you in a second. Here it is being, firing the anti-aircraft missiles into the air right there. All right, so, and I'll read from some of this. According to these pictures, these tank positions were taken today. So, I thought I saw position. It was just a couple tanks actually. The pictures I saw yesterday in the Golan Heights. Now they have, many positioned there. Israeli Merkava tanks are deployed near the Israeli Syrian border in the Golan Heights today after 20 rockets were fired at Israel military bases by Iranian forces from southern Syria just after midnight. And there's another photo up here as well. Same thing, though. These were deployed as of Thursday. That's today. So, and there was one other thing I want to show you, and I can read from some of this article, but it's mostly just. Here is the graphic. I don't even know if I got to show this. I mentioned it, I know, where basically shows all the Iranian rocket strikes, airstrikes onto Syria last night in response to the the rocket attack from Syria into the Golan Heights. Iranian rockets attacked against Israel forces inside the Golan Heights. Israel struck numerous Iranian targets in Damascus in southern Syria. I have no idea how accurate that is, but that was just much more extensive than I originally had thought. And And so, we'll see what happens tonight, It says the attack was followed by retaliatory strikes by Israeli jets, which struck dozens of Iranian military installations within Syria. They struck a radar station, air defense positions, and an ammunition dump, Syrian state media said. Israeli defense minister said the IDF had hit almost all of the Iranian infrastructure in Syria. I mean, that's what the Israelis are saying. But he insisted Israel had no interest in escalation of the situation, adding, I hope that we have finished this chapter and that everyone got the message. Okay. Meanwhile, France and Germany on Thursday urged Israel and Iran to exercise restraint and avoid further escalation of hostilities in the Middle East after the heaviest military exchange ever between the two regional adversaries. It is. It's a big deal, man. German Chancellor Angela Merkel, and French President Emmanuel Macron discussed the Iranian rocket attacks and Israel's response and called for prudence and de-escalation. The escalations of the past few hours show us that it is truly about war and peace. And I can only call on all sides to exercise restraint here, Merkel said. Britain also condemned a rocket attack on the occupied Golan Heights by Iranian forces based in Syria. Prime Minister Theresa May's official spokesman said, we condemn Iran's attack on Israel. Israel has every right to defend itself. We call on Iran to refrain from any further attacks and for calm on all sides. We call on Russia to use its influence in Syria to prevent further Iranian attacks. And I don't know the exact timing, but Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu had just flown to meet with Putin, as I understand it, and one of the users in the comments had mentioned that as well. I was a little aware of it, and you can't tell me that that's a coincidence. I forget, you just changed your name. I forget what your new name is, and I don't want to say what your old name is because I assume you changed it for a reason. But, I agree that had implications, whether it was asking the Russians or warning them of what might be coming and to, avoid any, whatever, when they do the back channel thing. So that's where we are, man. Pretty crazy. And I'm going to leave it there. Thanks for watching my videos. We'll see what happens tonight. I'll be tuning in if anything does materialize. Thanks for watching my videos. Please subscribe to my channel. Give me a like down below. I'll see you in the next video. Later, man.